Hey Ryan, what's wrong?
I'm struggling with Ethos, Pathos, Logos. Can you help me?
Sure, I can help you out. Why don't we call Dr. Rhetoric?
Dr. Rhetoric?
Dr. Rhetoric.
Oh, hello. I hear you'd like to talk about ethos, pathos, and logos. Well, I'm just the person to talk to you about it. My name is Dr. Rhetoric. So, ethos, pathos, and logos are part of what we call rhetoric. Rhetoric is the art of persuasion. Now, thousands of years ago, Aristotle talked about persuasion. He talked about three modes of persuasion. Those are ethos, pathos, and logos. So this video is about those things. It's something that we struggle with a lot when we talk about persuasion. So why don't we start off with the hardest one, the one that both students and teachers really struggle to pin down, and that is ethos.
Ethos.
Now, whenever I hear a word that I don't know, I do the same thing as you do. I Google it. So let's take a look. Ethos, the characteristic spirit of a culture, era, or community as manifested in its beliefs and aspirations. Okay, the characteristic spirit of a community. Its beliefs. Now, I don't know about you, but the word ethics sounds a lot like ethos. I wonder if they're related. Let's look that one up. Ethics, moral principles that govern a person's behavior or the conducting of an activity. Makes you wonder if they're related. Well, if we think about a community and the characteristic spirit or beliefs, its values, we can see where that would inform ethics. So ethics is the principles that come from the ethos of a community that we should maybe live our lives on. But what does this have to do with persuasion?
What does this have to do with persuasion?
Well, it goes back to that community, because when you are making an argument, you're making it to someone else. And your goal is to tap into those beliefs of the community so that you are trustworthy. This is why we sometimes talk about ethos as credibility. It's the credibility of the speaker. There are a number of ways to build credibility. Imagine a political speech. Now, if the politician comes from a business background and that politician has run a successful business, then he or she will already have credibility when speaking to, say, the Chamber of Commerce. But that's not the only place. If you're a successful YouTuber, like myself, giving a speech about why we should have more technology in schools or something like that, I would already have some built-in credibility.
Logos.
The second in Aristotle's modes of argumentation is logos, and logos simply just refers to logic. Now you're wondering, what does logos or logic have to do with ethos? Well, it happens in what we sometimes call commonplaces. And a commonplace is a culturally specific agreed upon principle. So for example, we talked a little bit about business before. If I'm giving a speech to a group of small business people, they've agreed on the premise already that small businesses are the backbone of the American economy. Now, is this true? I don't really know, but there are certainly groups of people who believe that. And so based on that belief, that's a premise that I can then build a logical argument off of. Because small businesses are the backbone of the American economy, I should lower taxes on them so that they can grow. Right? That would be a political, logical argument. I'm using logos with that culturally specific premise, which is a commonplace, to make my argument.
Is that it?
Well, yes, it's not just commonplaces. We use logos in other ways. It's any logical argument that we build. This could be the use of a syllogism, an if-then statement, that sort of thing. Finally, let's talk about pathos.
Pathos.
So pathos simply refers to the emotion in your audience. When you build a logical argument, right, you use logos, you want to wrap it up with pathos, essentially, because you want your audience to feel as well as think. Now, this doesn't have to be necessarily negative emotions. It can be joy and laughter as well. In fact, that's probably even more effective than the sad emotions. But pathos is the emotion in the audience.
Wrap it up, Dr. Rhetoric.
So let's see one big example here. How about this? Say I'm trying to sell you my car. Ethos. I'm Henry Ford, and you should buy my car because I'm Henry Ford. Logos. You should buy my car because yours is broken down and it's the only one for sale. Pathos. You should buy my car because this poor sick puppy needs surgery, and I'm going to use the proceeds from selling that car to heal this poor sick puppy. It's simple. That's how it all works. Now, you probably notice what the most important thing is the audience. And so when we are considering ethos, pathos, logos, the thing we really need to consider first is the audience and what the audience believes and what the audience will think, how best to persuade the audience. And perhaps that will be another visit to Dr. Rhetoric.